Hello YouTube. Okay, this is early. This is very early. We are just before 0.2 hits. We did get from the PoE2DB the gems. We did get all the patch notes. And we do have the passive skill tree here. What I did here is not a full guide, okay? This is not a guide. It's some build ideas that I think will look fine, and it's something that I'm excited to play or I want to try on these classes, on these ascendancies. So the first one that caught my eye while doing this, going through the gems, going through the patch notes. I still haven't finished them, by the way, so there might be changes as well. I haven't finished the patch notes. I do need to finish them until the patch hits. Actually, it's 5 hours or 6 hours from the recording of this video. I still need to go through some of the gems, some of the support gems. I went through all of the active gems though. I did went through the changes over here as well, as much as I could in the passive tree. This is the PoEDB passive skill tree, that's why it's not very clear what it's in here. So let's go a bit through these build ideas. The Deadeye caught my eye because what we have here, Deadeye, we have a very nice buff on the Thrilling Chase Ascendancy passive skill, because now when you consume frenzy charges, you count as having consumed twice as many. We know that we can get up to 7 or 8 frenzy charges on the Deadeye quite easily, and you can also sustain them quite easily, especially that now pin is a lot more easy than before. So with pinning strike you can use the combat frenzy and so on to generate frenzy charges. I think this will be great to generate frenzy charges. You will basically have 14 or 16 frenzy charges when you expand it, and for this Serpent Fury you need to use a spear, of course, but this skill says that consume all frenzy charges to perform a gigantic spear thrust that knocks back enemies, and then for each frenzy charge consumed, a winged serpent follows in the spear's wake. Each serpent also damages and knockbacks enemies, and knocking an enemy into terrain or another larger enemy will cause a shockwave. I think this will basically clear screens. You will consume the frenzy charges with 7 or 8 frenzy charges, it will fill up the screen with shockwaves, basically. Because the mobs will hit into one another or a larger enemy or into the terrain. This will be so strong. I think so, at least. I think this will be so strong because it also has a very nice attack damage base. The attack speed, I'm a bit concerned on this one. We have to see how bad is this one. But I really like the skill, I really like what I read here. And I really like how this can be used with Deadeye. Maybe it's not especially needed to have like 14 or 16 of the frenzy charges for this skill to work. Maybe it works with the 7 frenzy charges just as well. But we have to see how huge is this with the Deadeye. I do have a Deadeye. Let me just show you. I do have a Deadeye. I'll show you just quickly. I don't want this video to be too long. I do have a Deadeye that is set up for this. Only that this time it's using I'll show you just the passive tree. It's using this one. It's using the combat frenzy, right? It's using the combat frenzy to generate frenzy charges, and you basically generate the frenzy charges by pinning enemies and freezing them as well. So I have multiple ways of doing that, and I generate frenzy charges and then I use it to spiral volley with them and to get more damage. Even spiral volley will get buffed, but that's another story. So I do have a way to test it. I am going to test if the build works before I actually commit to doing a build with this one. I can test it on standard as well. I think this will be a fun build, at least to test and at least to see how well it does with the Serpent's Fury. This is a nice thing as well, a nice skill. I think this is a nice skill. Yay, my torrent is finished for the PoE preload. Alright, infernalist, then I've seen the Spear of Solaris and the Explosive Spear as well. These are very nice on the Infernalist, because the Infernalist got buffed, and this one has a very huge ignited ground damage and a very huge base damage on the attack. And as far as I've seen, you have to build Glory, same as you have for the warrior skill, the Hammer of the Gods, right? So this is the equivalent of the Hammer of the Gods, but this time you are using it with a spear, and it does fire damage. It has a conversion of 75% to fire. This can easily be taken to 100%, and the ignited ground will be huge. And for this ignited ground, we will use Infernalist. Let me show you where is the Infernalist. Should be up here. Greening emulation, that's something else. We need to use this one, the Bringer of Flame. You can also use the Demonic Possession, because the Demonic Form now, you only need this point for it. And then whatever you choose. Maybe this one is very nice. Pyromantic Pact with Sitting Body. So you can do a very, very nice Infernalist with this Spear of Solaris and Explosive Spear. Even though you are not a dexterity guy, you will have to find a way to be able to use it, I guess, because it will be pretty fun to play an Infernalist with huge ignites. And on top of the Spear of Solaris, you can also use the Explosive Spear for clearing like smaller packs and so on. I need to see. This is just a build idea, maybe it's not that great, maybe you want to do this on another class, but I think Infernalist will be very good for single target. It will have a big fire damage and a big magnitude of ignite, and it might be a great boss killer. We have to see, I don't know. Especially that Infernalist now can also get like, you can still get Altered Flesh, you can still get the Loyal Hellhound if you want with the new loyalty support gem. That basically does the same. Okay, what's the next idea is the overextend. When I saw this gem, I thought, okay, this is a build that I always wanted to do. So this gem, I don't care about the downside, whatever, you will get stunned more easily, you will try not to get hit though. So supported skills have 30% more critical damage bonus. This is a support gem. This build is thought around this support gem, but the idea is older than that, because you can already do this build in this current version before 0.2. However, Infernalist got buffed. The Infernalist, where is the Infernalist? Infernalist got buffed. This Greening Immolation now provides 50% more critical damage bonus. I mean, this one is huge. The downside from the Greening Immolation can be very easily bypassed by investing some points over here in the Fireproof. You will reduce the effect of Ignite on you by taking these nodes by 55%. And to top that off, to finish that off, there is a unique item. Let me see, do I have it here? Where was that one? Oh my god, I don't remember where I placed that one. This is the standard for me, I have a lot of bullshit over here. It's not here. This is the mana stacker. What the hell? Yeah, switch. Okay, I don't remember where I placed it, but basically there is a helmet, like a unique helmet. I don't remember the name, but will allow you to offset the entire downside of the Greening Immolation for the Infernalist, and it will take you to 100% reduced Ignite duration on you, which means Ignite does nothing on you. So you have this gem with 30% more crit damage, and then you have 50% from the Greening Immolation, and then you get 30% from the Pain Attunement. because you can use the Chaos Legacy belt for 75% low life. So that means you will only need to reserve one of the reservation stuff from the infernalist after the Flash Ascendancy. Let me show you. This was it, yeah. So you take the Altered Flash and you take any of this one, whichever is good for you. You take, and then you are 75% reserved life. And to be able to take Pain Attunement for another 30% more critical damage bonus, which will take you to what, 80% now? No, 110% more critical bonus. Then you basically will end up with, let me huge crits, 110% crit damage bonus. This is the multiplier, so whatever else you take from the tree will be multiplied by this 110 more. This is a lot. I will show you the Chaos Legacy. This is basically the belt. I think I have it on the other character on the hardcore stash. My standard is messed up. Standard for me is a dead league. I don't use standard. I do have it over here, I guess. Yeah, so this belt, it will tell you that you count as on low life while at 75% of maximum life or below. So this build will work extraordinarily well with Infernalist, with Overextend, with Greening Immolation for another 50% and Pain Attunement 30%. And you can use spell of your choice, you can use attacks, whatever you want. This is like, if you want to do a crit build in PoE 2, like a very huge crit build, you want to do Infernalist now with these changes. Even before you could do this, but you will not reach this number. You would only be able to reach, what was it, 30% from Pain Attunement and 30%. You would only be able to reach 60% more crit bonus. Now you have 110. That's a lot. It will be like 1,000 something at least in your crit damage bonus. It will be 10 times the damage when you crit. So I suggest some spells that have a high critical chance base, like the cold spell. Cold spells maybe. I think I will do this one at some point. It's a very nice build. Okay, then the next skill that caught my attention, for which I have two Ascendancy suggestions, is the Elemental Sundering. Elemental Sundering skill has very nice numbers. So what you do is you plunge your spear into the ground to emit a pulse that consumes freeze, shock and ignite on a number of nearby enemies, allies or corpses. So this is also interesting. The pulse itself deals no damage, but each ailment consumed causes an explosion of the corresponding elemental damage type. Now if we look at the explosions have very high scaling. The radius, I hope the radius can be increased by increased AoE gem and so on. But this will be very nice for cold if you are able to freeze a lot. That's why I did the Amazon. Cold attacks with Thongs of Frost and Trinity will be very nice on the Amazon to use the Elemental Sundering for these explosions. And for an Ignite build, for a fire build, you can still use the Infernalist with maybe the Infernal Hound spreading ignites with wildfire, and then you consume it with Elemental Sundering. This might be a bit clunkier than the Amazon, and maybe harder to, I don't know, to make it work, because you need dexterity for it, right? Because it's a spear gem. What, you need 205 dexterity, but you get the point. You can also do this on a monk as well. So yeah, Infernalist, I don't know, maybe with crits, if you want to do Elemental Sundering with this one, right? Maybe you can do Elemental Sundering with combined with this one, with the one above. Who knows? Maybe this one can be combined. You don't have to use a spell here for the high crit chance. What crit base does it have? Can this one crit though? It doesn't say. It doesn't say. I suppose it can crit though. It wouldn't make sense not to be able to crit, right? Alright, so that's it for these main ones, and the last one, which I will most likely start just because I absolutely love the minions, on which I don't have a lot of info to share, is basically I want to play the Lich. I want to do like the Bind Spectre for sure, and I want to do some Chaos Spectres. I will most likely start with the ones in the Freytorn, the archers that are doing chaos pods, and I'll see what other specters I can get for the Lich, because the Lich, as you could see on the... where is the Lich? God damn it. Can I? It's a witch Lich. Is it this one? Yeah. Lich will be very strong. This one is very strong for the Lich. You have the cursed enemies, you and your minion skills have a chance to explode. This is again very nice. And you have this one. I mean, this one can be good or cannot be good, I don't know. Maybe you want to pick it as well if you are playing with Rapture the Soul. But everything else seems very nice, and I want to play a Lich. I think this is what I will start as. And then I'm pretty sure I will do something with the Infernalist, with the huge crits. Maybe even combine with the Elemental Sundering, but I need to figure out if this is not better on the Amazon. Because Amazon, it's kind of primed to... it's kind of built into her, right? So these are my build ideas so far. I haven't delved a lot into all of the gems. I think there are some very nice builds to be done for Warrior as well, especially for the Smith of Kitava. So this is my shortlist so far. I will add more as soon as I get more info, as soon as I consume more of this information, more of the gems. And yeah, and as soon as I get to play the league, I get to find more uniques maybe and find more stuff. But I think these ones are pretty nice so far. And yeah, I'm quite excited to try some of these skills as well. Most excited I am for the Bind Spectre. Alright, that's about it for me. I'm streaming on Twitch most days at 8 PM GMT +3, so feel free to check it out if I'm live. And I'll post like highlights, guides, and I will post a lot of specters on my YouTube channel as well. Alright, see you guys. Bye bye.